Hi guys, welcome to this afternoon's lesson on four-figure grid references on Ordnance Survey Maps. So this is a geography skill that you haven't covered yet, but it's something that you need to cover before we look at our objective for the summer term. So this is what we're going to be focusing on today. So maps are two-dimensional drawings of a three-dimensional place, so of any place. They help locate cities, towns, places. They help us to locate in other important places. So there are symbols for things like post offices, campsites, or schools. And you can also use a map to plan a route from one place to another. And maps also show the path lines, train lines, and roads. So where would you find a map? So just have a think where you might find a map. So maps can obviously be on paper. You might see them on a display board in a park or a city or on a ship or even in hotels, on mobile devices and on computers. So we're looking at a specific type of map today, and that's an Ordnance Survey Map. So an Ordnance Survey Map is a detailed map which covers a square kilometre of the UK. So you can see on this Ordnance Survey Map, which you're going to be looking at later, it's all split into squares. Each square represents 1 square kilometre. So if you go along here, that represents a kilometre. If you go down here, that represents a kilometre. Okay? And grids are used on an OS map to help people locate specific places and find their way around a location. And each square measures 1 kilometre in real life. So each square has its own specific unique grid reference on the map. And we can use grid references to share the location of a place. So if you got lost, sharing a grid reference would help someone know where you were, and it can help save lives. So OS maps are covered with a grid of thin blue lines that form square boxes, which you can see on the map here. All lines running both vertically or horizontally across the map have a number on them, both at either end of the line and somewhere halfway along. So we've got northings here and eastings here, which we're going to talk about in more detail in a second. So the numbers at the bottom of an OS map are called eastings because they show you how far east you are. The numbers run from left to right, okay, or west to east. The number on the line increases the further east you go. So the further east you go, the higher the number. Okay, so that's an easting. Each easting refers to the column to the right of its line. So here is 10. So if you've got 10 here, it's the column after here, so this square. So 11 would be this square, 12 would be this square. The number that runs from bottom to top or south to north are northings because they show you how far north you are. So the higher the number, the further north you are. Each northing refers to the row above its line. So if you're at 21, it's this row here. Okay? So how do you read? You always go eastings to northing. So it's always across and then up, across the corridor and up the stairs. Remember, we read eastings first. So what is the grid reference here? So think about what it is for the eastings and the northing. Okay? So the answer is 1122 because you've got 11 here because it's always the one to the right of the number, and 22 because it's the one above. So it's 1122. So what I want you to do now is see what the grid references of these symbols are. So you need to pause the video and have a go at finding which square these grid references are for the love heart, the star, and the smiley face. And you can do this on a whiteboard. Do that now. Okay, so we'll look at your answers now. So these were the answers. So for this one, it's 10, 23, because it's here. Then we've got 10, 21, and 12, 22. So OS maps also have symbols. So these symbols are used on OS maps, and they're the same on every OS map. So I want you to look at them, and I want you to have a think what the symbols are, and pause the video and just have a prediction or a guess at what you think all these symbols represent. Okay, so we'll be able to see how you got on because you have all the symbols on a sheet that was given to you. Okay, so these symbols are all there for you, and you will need them for some of the tasks later. So your tasks today are, for task 1, you've got to find the 4 figure grid references of the places on the map that you were given. Task 2, you've got to use the key to locate symbols on the map, find out what they mean and complete your grid. So they're your first 2 tasks. And if you get those done, I would like you to make your own map with its own symbols. So this can be done. So you would stick these 2 tasks in your theme project book, and then on the next clean page, you can have a go at making your own map. Okay, your own Ordinance Survey Map. If there are any questions, you can obviously log in Dojos and ask me.